We woke up to the news that a convicted Khalistani terrorist had been invited to the Canadian High Commissioner's dinner for Justin Trudeau in Delhi this evening. It was an absolute PR disaster for the Canadian government.
A fair statement being made in both countries tonight. And so far, neither government has given much of an answer as to how it happened. Trudeau has been in damage control mode ever since. And as David Cochrane tells us, this has all but tanked an already troubled visit.
The India trip was not supposed to go like this. Today, the Prime Minister tried to keep his agenda on track with a visit to a cricket pitch. It didn't work.
Prime Minister, how did Canada invite Mr. Atwal to this reception? How did he get on the guest list, Prime Minister?
That's what happens when a man convicted of attempted murder is photographed with the Prime Minister's wife. Jaspal Atwal is a former member of a Sikh extremist organization that was banned as a terrorist group in several countries, including Canada and India. He was convicted in 1986 of the attempted assassination of an Indian politician who was visiting Vancouver Island. He went to prison for that, but Tuesday night in Mumbai, there he was, posing with Sophie Gregoire-Trudeau, Canadian cabinet ministers, and MPs.
Biggest diplomatic disaster.
The story is generating headlines across India that have made Canadian officials cringe. An Indian reporter even shouted questions as the Prime Minister visited a mosque.
Why did you invite a Khalistani terrorist for your reception?
The invitation came from Randeep Sarai, one of 14 MPs who paid their own way to join the Prime Minister on this trip. Sarai added Atwal to the guest list for this reception at the High Commissioner's residence. The invitation was revoked when CBC News broke this story. Sarai was around yesterday, but he hasn't been seen since. He did issue a statement taking full responsibility for the invitation. In addition to the assassination attempt, Atwal was charged but not convicted in the near-fatal beating of former British Columbia Premier Ujjal Dosanjh.
By associating with the enemies of India, with those that want to dismember it, you are putting yourself in the camp of adversaries of India.
The Prime Minister's office initially said Trudeau would not change his schedule to respond. But hours later, he gave a brief statement without taking questions.
Obviously, we take this situation extremely seriously. The individual in question never should have received an invitation, and as soon as we found out, we rescinded the invitation immediately. The Member of Parliament who included this individual has and will assume full responsibility for his actions.
All of this comes just one day before Trudeau is set to meet with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on a trip where he has sought to reassure India that Canada does not support Sikh separatism. Now he will have to explain to the leader of the world's largest democracy why a Canadian Member of Parliament invited the would-be assassin of an Indian politician to a party with Justin Trudeau. David Cochrane, CBC News, New Delhi.
So how did someone as potentially dangerous as Jaspal Atwal get so close to the Prime Minister at all, and seemingly without too much trouble? Our Katie Simpson wades into the storm of finger-pointing to find out.
Jaspal Atwal's criminal history has not stopped him from getting close to powerful Canadian politicians.
Who's doing the vetting? How are they doing the vetting? With whom are they in contact to make sure the vetting is to be done properly?
CBC News has learned that Atwal was not vetted at all, not by CSIS and not by the RCMP after receiving his invitation. For large events like a Prime Minister's town hall, it is not necessarily uncommon. Security experts say vetting everyone is nearly impossible.
I'm not sure there are any immediate security concerns in terms of whether or not the Prime Minister or his wife would have been in danger because of this individual. I think what concerns me more are the optics.
Atwal had been banned from traveling to India by that government for years because of his ties to Sikh extremism. But that ban was lifted several months ago. Now, a senior Canadian government source, speaking on condition of anonymity, is questioning that timing and whether factions inside India helped get Atwal an invite in an attempt to stir up controversy. Still, this former chief of staff to Stephen Harper says Justin Trudeau needs to step up his vetting process.
It's not just that it's embarrassing to Canada and could cause problems with the Indian government. This is a guy who has a history of violently attacking people in public positions.
Trudeau has faced challenges with security optics before. He recently met with Josh Boyle, the Canadian detainee with family ties to extremism, who was later charged with assault. And a Ukrainian interpreter, who turned out to be a Russian spy, was allowed to sit in on a meeting between Trudeau and the Ukrainian PM. But it is the India incident that is getting international attention.
Put aside the partisan issue here. I think it's in everybody's interest to get to the bottom of how this happened.
For now, there are no suggestions the Liberal government has any plans to change its approach to security. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Ottawa.